Hello everyone and welcome to Season 3 of iRacing for the first round of our USF 2000 Championship here in Tsukuba. This is the race calendar we're going to be running this season then, 10 rounds of the championship. We begin here at this very tight and twisty circuit in Japan. Lap times under a minute, so it's going to be fast and frantic. Really not very many positions to overtake on this lap, so qualifying was always going to be crucial. Let's now take a little look at our fastest lap. Here we are then, we're just coming around to the end of our first flying lap here. As those of you who have played iRacing before will know, you get 2 flying laps and it's the second lap of ours which is going to be quickest here. So we're underway, we're going to go up the hill and into the braking zone of the tight hairpin for the first corner. We go down into first gear and then get it back up in the second as soon as we can get the car straightened. Flat all the way through here and then onto the brakes just as we come to the end of the curbing there on the right hand side. Try and hook the car in much like you would in the carousel at the Nordschleife. Third gear through that right-hander there, just trying to feather the throttle so you don't need to apply too much brake through there. And then again we're down into another right-hand hairpin, try and again get the car aligned with the banking on the turn, get a nice exit out of there, up in a second, then third gear. This is the back straight then, we've got one long sweeping corner left to go. Going to spot our braking with the beginning of the pit entry on the right-hand side, down into third gear. We nearly lose the car as we're carrying a lot of speed through the corner, use all of the runoff to the outside of the corner and cross the line for what will be a sub 55 second lap time. But where will that put us on the grid? Well, let's find out. Here's the starting grid and there it is. A 54.857 is enough for pole position on the grid. A number of cars chose not to set a time, but I know that is a pretty competitive lap time overall, so very happy with that, and it's going to give us the best chance of a clean start to this race. You can see then for a new season we're running new colours. If you want to find out how you can get a livery like this design, check out the description for the details of the creator. But for now we've got to focus on the track ahead as the lights are about to go green and we are underway, and we've got the jump on the cars behind us. It looks as if Millen in second place has dropped to Sawyer, who's now in the red car just behind us in our rear view mirror. We managed to get around the first corner on cold brakes and tyres reasonably well, but we are going to be giving ourselves just a little margin into the corners on this opening lap so that we don't make a mistake. In our rear view mirror we can see that Millen has managed to get Sawyer back already, so he's back into second place, albeit a second down on us as we come into the back half of this opening lap. Spot our braking correctly here, down into the right hand hairpin, get on the gas as early as we can, and we're just about through our opening lap and we've retained the lead of this race, which is fantastic. I was very nervous about that opening corner. Oftentimes you get drivers that are just a little bit too enthusiastic into that opening section, but we've managed to get through unscathed, and actually we've got a decent gap back to Millen in second place. So all I'm thinking about now is how do we get ourselves into a rhythm here. We've got clear track up ahead of us, that's brilliant, that's an advantage for sure, but at the same time we don't have any other cars to be thinking about and sort of measure our pace against, so it's very much up to me to be setting the pace in this race in a way which allows us to build a gap to the car behind but also not overdo it. I don't need to push too hard, and there's one example early on where the car's still coming up to temperature and I just ran it wide and another couple of centimetres off to the right hand side there and I could have spanned the car under no pressure other than that which I was applying to myself. So I need to be mindful of that I don't want to overdo it, but I do want to run quick enough to try and defend from Millen if it turns out he's got good race pace. Coming across the line then to finish another lap there, the gap is around a second still, just under a second. We have recorded the fastest lap of the race so far of 55.4, but it looks as if Millen invalidated his lap, so we still don't really have a read on just what pace he has got. A position change there in the top left hand corner of the screen. You can see Lewis moving up into 5th place. We've got a yellow flag out, there's a car off to the right hand side, that's Broca, that we're able to pass without needing to deviate from our line or come off the gas too much. which is a bit of a relief, but we have gone in a little bit deep into that right-hand hairpin, and Millen has gained a few tenths on us through that corner. He's now just about half a second back from us, so I do now need to be just a bit mindful that that gap is closing in. This is probably the trickiest corner on the lap, certainly I found it anyway, where you need to be able to carry enough momentum through the corner, but if you go into the corner too fast, then you just understeer horribly and you're ultimately slower on the exit, and it's a real difficult balance. You'll see that through this race that it wasn't my best part of the circuit by any stretch of the imagination. Millen behind us then has set a new fastest lap of the race, a 54.7, and that is a quick lap. That's quicker than we were able to go in qualifying. It's much quicker than he was able to go in qualifying, so that has sent me a signal immediately that Millen has some pace. It looks as if we might be in a two-horse race here, with the driver in third at the moment, Sawyer, lapping in a 55.6, so a good chunk of pace slower than we are. Look at the pop-out screen though, and this is just coming around into the first corner of the lap, and there's going to be contact between two back markers. That's Callie, I think, who's been span around there, and yes, look, there's the yellow flag out on the live action, so we're going to need to be just a bit careful as we come into this first corner. Then I still can't see where his car is. There he is, parked on the left hand side of the track. Thankfully he doesn't rejoin, and we are able to get past that incident without being collected. It's because of the profile of the corners on this Tsukuba circuit. You can be unsighted. Unfortunately, I'm not running a VR headset, so I'm limited to the point of view that I've got, and it's very difficult to see if cars have beached it on the outside of the track or on the banked sections, then it can be really difficult to just know exactly where an incident has taken place. But we got through there okay, and we've managed to maintain the gap to the car behind at 0.6 seconds, but that is too close for comfort, really, so I'm going to have to try and find some pace. We've set a 54.9 on the lap prior. As we cross the line there, that's a 55.1, so our pace is consistent, but it's about 3-4 tenths of a second slower than Millen behind us. Perva has moved up into third place. You might have seen that in the top left hand corner of the screen as the standings updated. We've gone in deep there into the bank left hander. That's going to allow Millen to close up a little bit further. There is no real way past in this infield section of the lap. In fact, really, there's not many overtaking opportunities full stop. It's likely to be into the first corner or possibly down into this hairpin if you can get the inside line in plenty of time, but you really need to be within a couple of tenths of the car ahead in order to make a move, because the braking zones on this circuit just are not significant enough to be able to make up time within them and get alongside. We're slightly lazy into that final corner there, which gives us a little bit of understeer on exit, and again, it wouldn't surprise me to see Millen close up on us, and as we come through then, that was another 55.2, so that seems to be our race pace at the moment. We're struggling to get the car turned in there, and again, Millen now just 0.4 seconds behind us. We're coming up against another back marker here. This is Broca, who we passed early on in the race. He must have been in for repairs and is now back out, and it looks like we're closing in on him quite quickly to lap him once again. We're coming through the left-hander then. We've got enough of a gap back to Millen to allow us the comfort of being able to get past this car, I hope, without coming into too many difficulties. We're a little bit sloppy into that corner. I'm going to try and tuck underneath the rear wing of Bo. So this is the view then from Millen behind us. He's tracking us and he's passing the back marker as well, but he's going to try and close up through this final corner onto our rear wing. You can see him there as we're trying to saw at the wheel to get the car turned in. He's quicker on the exit. He's going to have a look first to the outside, then is he going to try and get down the inside? No, he's going to have to go to the outside because we hold the inside line and he's not able to get the car past on this occasion. But a really good demonstration there of how tough it's going to be to pass on this circuit. So I do, despite not having a pace advantage, I've got an on track advantage, and I need to try and make that count and be quick enough on the parts of the circuit, namely that final corner, to make sure that he can't get a run on me and get alongside me into T1, because that is undoubtedly the chief overtaking opportunity on the lap. We're already then coming round to the end of another lap and into this final corner, just as I was describing it there. Again, Millen has managed to hold the gap within half a second. We're going to try and get our line better this time through the corner. I'm just being a little bit cautious, to be honest. I'm not throwing it in as I was in qualifying. He's not really going to get a run on us into the first corner this time around, so we're able to get onto the inside line. He very nearly outbrakes himself in our rear view mirror there, but he manages to not run into the back of us, and we survive for another lap. Incredibly, we're already at the halfway point of this race. We've been leading throughout, and it looks like at this stage at least Millen is going to struggle to get past us. We've managed to drop third place. Perver is now 7 seconds behind us, so just as I said it towards the beginning of the race, it does look as if it's a two-horse race for the win here today. It feels going through that corner like Millen was closer to us, and yes, if I look down at the relative just at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, he's 0.3 seconds behind us now. So we're going to come into the final corner, try and get a better line, but look at that, he's much quicker than us. He's already closing in our rear view mirror. The pop-up screens come out because he's closing right in our rear wing. He's got the inside line. I can't come across the corner now because there'd definitely be contact, so I have to give him space. He's just trying to squeeze down our inside. He's going to get alongside on corner exit, but I've got the better drive out of the corner, so I'm going to have the high ground into the next section, and I'm able to brake on the apex, and there's really nowhere for him to go at that point, so he backs off and decides to live to fight another day. But that's the closest Millen has come so far to being able to get past us. There's no doubt about it, he's got the quicker race pace than we do, so this is going to be a real struggle now, I think, for the remainder of this race. I need to find a bit more pace into that final corner. I'm going to have another go at it here, but then again, I say I need a bit more pace. My last lap was a 54.9. That pretty well is my quickest pace around this circuit at this time. My qualifying lap was only a 54.8. I don't think in practice I've ran too many quicker laps than that. So it may just be we've got the case of a faster driver behind here, and I'm going to have to do what I can within the bounds of reasonableness to keep him behind on track, despite the fact that he's got that pace advantage over us. We're coming round into the left-hander again and get that nicely hooked up in the banking, so we're quick through there. And it does look as if Millen is a little bit further behind us through this infield section than in previous laps, although the gap is still just half a second. Hudson has just overtaken Sawyer for 4th place then. He's moved up 2 positions off the start. And we're into then the back straight once again, and it looks as if Millen has dropped a little bit further back here. So if I'm able to just keep a clean line through this final corner, maybe I've got half a chance of dropping him a little bit further. But look at that, I'm struggling with understeer. I've got the wheel completely rotated, and as the pop-up screen comes out again, look at this closing speed that Millen has got on us through that final corner as a car is exiting the pits up ahead. He's well down our inside now. I'm going to try and hook to the outside. I've got to quickly avoid him coming across our path there, but in fairness, the move was already done. We're now down the outside. I'm going to try and make a move straight back, but we've lost the high ground here, and look at that, we're into the left-hander. He's ran wide. I'm going to try and come down the inside. We nearly lose the car, but we just about keep hold of it and then manage to just get squeezed out as we're trying to hold it side by side through that right-hander, but there just simply isn't room for 2 cars through that part of the track, and unfortunately we've lost the position. Coming round the right-hander now, then I'm going to try and stick underneath his rear wing as we both pass David Cali in the lapped car there, and we're coming into the final corner. I have to try and stick close to him here because there's a chance, given he's got the quicker pace in this race so far, he's going to break clear of us if I lose the benefit of the tow. He's caught a little bit of curb on the inside. That's not ideal. So as we cross the start finish line, I might have a chance into this first corner, but we're just too far back. Got to reset then, try and get a better line out of this corner and just put some more pressure on. Maybe I can force a mistake from Millen, but look at how big his car looks into the apex of these corners. There really is very little chance of squeezing past here, and he's managed to get a good line out of that left-hander as we're into the final 5 minutes of this race now, and now I've got my work cut out. I've had to concede the lead of the race there. It was a good overtaking move, but really the error that cost me was into the final corner, not into the first corner. He's ran slightly wide in the hairpin though, so do we have a chance now to get back past? But within half a second of Millen up ahead. It's all going to depend on whether I can stick with him through this final corner, and that's been the big struggle. We get a decent enough entry into the corner. Look at that, we've closed right in on him, but he just comes across the nose of our car, and we have to get slightly out of it, so we haven't timed that well enough. I'm going to try and run slightly deeper into the corner. You can see I'm struggling to keep control of the car, just having to shake the wheel to try and find some grip and bite in the tyres, and unfortunately we aren't able to pressure him into a mistake into that corner. We're then very, very close into the left-hander again. We're almost nudging him around the corner, but we just can't get alongside and try and force him offline, and so he's able to hold the position, and actually through that middle section of the lap has extended the gap a little bit. Can I stick close into this hairpin? No, we've managed to run in a little bit too deep, and that has given him a good exit from the corner, and actually he's managed to break clear slightly, and he's nearly a second clear of us now. Let's take a little look back then, that the gap has extended into some of those battles. So this is us leading. It's his first attempt at trying to get past us. He's on the inside, but you can see he just doesn't quite have the speed on the exit of the corner to force his way through. So we're able to hold the next corner, and he's got no choice really but to tuck in behind us. And you can see just how close we're running together there. But thankfully, no contact, and I've got to tip my cap to Millen. It was a joy racing against him in this race because I had confidence that he wasn't going to do anything silly and drive into the back of us, which was key given how close we were running together here. And you can see again, he just about avoids running into our rear end. He's just got so much more speed through that final corner than we do, but he timed it wrong that time, so he wasn't able to get close enough to us into the braking zone of turn 1 as we managed to survive our trip through the first corner on that lap. We weren't going to be so lucky the very next time around. Here we go then into the final corner, and just look at how visibly he is able to close on us through the exit of that corner. We've just gotten it all wrong. That's probably the worst we took it all race, and that was enough. That provided him with the opportunity to get down our inside. I couldn't close that off. I tried the switch back, but then I had to get out of it because I was just frightened of steering into him. So then I'm stuck on the outside into this little kink, try to switch to the inside of the left hand corner. He locks up and runs wide. I sense an opportunity, so I'm down the inside, but you can see I get the steering all crossed up trying to control the car sliding, and that means I have to sacrifice the position because otherwise I might well have ran into him, and unfortunately then I just have to tuck in behind him. Here's a final view then of the overtake from the helicam, because it just shows you really vividly the closing speed through the exit of this final corner. Look at how much more speed he's able to carry through the exit of that corner. That gives him the run into T1, and by this point I'm a sitting duck. There's not a lot I can do. I have to be mindful that I don't want to run into him, and he's got the high ground of the corner. I'm then going to try and get a better exit, which I do, but just not good enough to power out and get alongside him. I then try and just feather my throttle through this corner. He runs wide and deep. We are side by side on exit, but I just can't keep control of the car sufficiently to then be able to make the move, and he's able to hold it underneath the Dunlop bridge as we come then into the hairpin, where again I'm thinking maybe there's going to be a chance here if he makes a mistake or he locks a tyre. We do get a better run through that corner, but again not good enough to be able to get alongside. So that then was our biggest chance of winning the race, and unfortunately we didn't get close again through the next lap and a half, and this then is on to the final lap where I have managed to bring the gap down to a second. He hasn't been able to escape me completely, and I had a better run through the last lap, which means we do at least have half a chance running into this final lap of trying to put a bit more pressure on Millen and hopefully force a mistake. But we clip the curb there on the right-hander, which is a shame because it does slow you down on exit. We're going to try and brake as late as we dare while prioritising the exit to this corner. We do hook that up quite nicely, and that means we get a marginally better exit than Millen up ahead. The gap is just under a second, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough unless he makes a big mistake in this final corner, and let's be fair, he hasn't done that virtually all race. And true to form, he rounds the last corner and he takes the checkered flag, and we have to make do with second place. I don't know how to feel about that really, because I mean it was such a good and enjoyable race, but having led it for 2/3, I did fancy myself for the victory. We have to settle in second place, 50 championship points there as you'll have seen, and 59 points on our iRating as well. So all in all, a fairly successful opening weekend to the championship. There's our iRating at the end of the round, 1264, safety rating of 3.52, and our championship position after round 1 is 33rd. So I'm going to hope to make progress from that as we get through the championship, but it's really good to be back in season 3 in iRacing. I hope you've enjoyed this race. If you have, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.